Hello everyone. So welcome back in this video. So in today's video we are going to learn about magnetic field, but we will try to learn a different aspect of magnetic field. So in one of the previous videos we learned about this fact that if you have a current carrying wire and if you place a charge near the current carrying wire, and let's say the charge moves you know at a velocity of v near the wire carrying current, then we observe that this current, this charge experiences a force, and the force is given by this formula, right? So where the formula is q v cross b, where q is the amount of charge, v is the velocity of the charge, and b is the magnetic field. So we kind of we inferred that a wire carrying a current creates a magnetic field around itself, and because of that magnetic field, when a charge moves, the charge experiences a force, right? So this we have discussed earlier. So today we are going to quantify the magnetic field which is produced by a wire which is carrying current. So today we are actually going to find this value of B, right? So this will be our objective today. So let's get started. Okay. So let's say we have this wire, and just ignore the other representations on this diagram. We will discuss about it later. So let's say we have this wire, and this wire is carrying a current I, okay, I, and the current is in this direction. Now there have been a lot of empirical experiments which have been done, and on the basis of that empirical experiments, it has been postulated that a wire which is carrying a current I, it produces a magnetic field around it, and the magnitude of the magnetic field is a vector, so let's not just say magnitude. The magnetic field is given by this expression. So the magnetic field, let's call it B vector, right? It is given by this expression. So let's call it dB, right? Let's call the magnetic field, a small amount of magnetic field, it's given by mu naught divided by 4 pi into I into dl vector into r vector divided by r cube. Now don't get scared by this expression. It's very simple. It's very similar to, in fact, what we have already studied in electrostatics, right? So in electrostatics we know that what is the force experienced by a charged particle which is in the presence of an electric field, or in other words, if you have two charged particles near each other, then what is the force experienced by them? We know that the force is given by q1 q2 by 4 pi epsilon naught r square, and it will have some direction. So let's use the word magnitude here. Magnitude is given by this. So what do we have in this expression? 4 pi epsilon naught is a constant, r is the distance between these two charged particles, and q1 q2 is the amount of charge. So similar thing is here, right? So here this this mu naught by epsilon naught. So this is a constant. Just like we had 4 pi epsilon naught as a constant, this mu naught by epsilon naught is also a constant, and the magnitude of mu naught is equal to 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 Tesla meter per ampere, right? So yeah, so we know that the unit of magnetic field is Tesla. So this we have discussed earlier. So if you just balance the dimension in this expression, you will figure out that this will be the unit of this mu naught, and it's a constant. And see, these constants are derived empirically. So a lot of experiments are done, and from those experiments these constants are derived. So the way experiments are conducted is that a wire carrying current is taken, and some charged particles are put near the wire, and the intensity of the current is varied, and the measurement is taken. Then the distance, this is varied, and the measurement is taken, and by doing all sorts of measurements, this sort of a model or a mathematical formula is created, and from that formula this constant is derived. Okay. So now let's try to find out the other terms in this expression. So we have I, we have dl, we have r, and we have rq, right? So I is simple. So I is the current which is flowing in this wire, right? Let's find out what is dl and what is r. So let's first understand dl. So dl is the current element in the wire. So see, a wire can be infinite, right? You can have a very long wire, right? Now, I mean, of course, we want to find out the magnetic field due to the infinitely long wire. But to do that, we first take an element of the wire, right? We take a very small cross, I mean, very small section of the wire, and this section is called the element of the wire. And usually we find the magnetic field because of this element, and then we extend it throughout the entire wire. So that's typically that's the process we follow in physics with the help of integration, right? So this dl is one section of the wire which is used to initially calculate the magnetic field, and then the magnetic field which gets calculated, that is extended over the entire wire. So this dl is just a element or a section of the wire which is carrying current, right? So I mean, if you integrate it over the entire wire, so this dl will be what? This integration of dl will be L, right? This integration of dl will be what? L, where L is what? L is the full length of the wire, right? But I mean, we don't calculate the magnetic field straight away, across its length, full length. We first find the magnetic field from a small section, and then we integrate. Okay, so I think that's clear. Let's find out what is R. So R is, so let's say this is the point at which you want to find the magnetic field. So this is the wire you have, and at this point you want to find the magnetic field, right? So so what is the process? We first take an element dl, and then we've tried to find out the magnetic field due to this dl on the point where you want to find the magnetic field, and then you integrate over the entire wire. So this dl vector we know is this vector, this current element vector. The r vector is the vector which joins this current element with the point where you want to find the magnetic field. So this vector is let me give a different color. This vector is r vector, and this vector, this vector is dl vector, right? So this is what you have. So you have cross product of dl vector and r vector. So if you if you remove the cross product, what will you have? You will have dl into r sine theta by r cube, right? dl r sine theta by r cube, right? That's how we define our cross product. So I hope the terms are now clear. Now what we are going to do is, now having established, now one more thing I want to mention here is that this expression has been defined empirically. As I mentioned, a lot of experiments were carried out, and from those experiments this thing was derived. So let me just touch upon, let me just try to make some sense from this expression. So what does this expression say? This expression says that if the magnitude of current in the wire increases, the magnetic field will increase, right? So this I think we discussed earlier also in our earlier video where we kind of laid down few assumptions. So when we were arriving at this formula, right, the F is equal to Q V cross B. So empirically, when we were deriving the formula, we kind of touched upon this, but again, like, it's quite intuitive, right? Like, our intuition says that the magnitude of current will be more. First of all, our hypothesis is that a current carrying wire has a magnetic field around it. So definitely, by extending the hypothesis, the argument, if you increase the magnitude of current, definitely the magnetic field should increase, right? So that is quite straightforward. Second is, you see if you expand this, what will you have? You will have dl into r sine theta by r square, r cube, and r will cancel. So you will have dl sine theta by r square. So essentially, what it's trying to say is that the magnitude of magnetic field is inversely proportional to the distance of the point from the element from which you want to find the magnetic field. So in other words, if this point is very far, right? If this point is very far, then the intensity of magnetic field will decrease. It's also quite obvious, right? This we have seen in Coulomb's law as well. If two charged particles are separated by a very long distance, the force will be smaller compared to the scenario when the charged particles are near to each other, right? So this is also, I mean, this is same intuition is here, right? So I hope so that's why I'm trying to say that there is a perfect analogy from Coulomb's law here. So I hope that this expression makes sense. So now what we are going to do is we are going to now find out the magnetic field due to an infinitely long wire at a point which is at a distance d, which is at a distance d from the wire, right? So yeah, so that is what we are going to do, and once we do that, I'll also explain you. So we'll take one more example, and in that example we will try to find out the magnetic field due to a circular wire which has a current flowing like which has a current I which flows through it, and from this wire we'll try to find out the magnetic field at the center, right? So these two examples, we will apply this expression to find out the magnetic field in these two scenarios. Okay, so yeah, okay. So now let's try to find out the magnetic field due to an infinitely long wire. So let's say we have this infinitely long wire. This wire is infinitely long, right? And let's say there's a point at a distance d from the wire. So let's try to find out the magnetic field at this point. So what do we know? We know that the magnetic field dB is given by mu naught by 4 pi into current into dl, which is the current element, into r vector divided by r cube, right? So let's apply this expression here. So let's take a current element dl, right, such that dl vector is this vector, and and what is the r vector for this dl vector? The r vector will be, so let me call this point, let me call this point as a, let me call this point as b. So this ab vector, that will be the r vector. So this is r vector and this is dl vector, right? And what is the angle between them? So let's say this angle is theta, this angle is 90 degree, then this angle will be what? 90 plus theta, the normal. So this angle, so the angle between dl vector and r vector will be 90 plus theta, right? This is this normal geometry. So what will be so r vector is this, which is ab vector. So what is the magnitude of ab vector? So if we take this triangle A, let's call this point O, AOB. So we know that this point is at a distance of d from the wire, and what is OA? So since we have taken this element dl, so let's assume that this element dl is at a distance l from the center or from the point O, right? It makes sense, right? That's how we typically apply any element in physics. So whenever we have to take a small element, we usually take a distance x or l from the center, from a reference point, and then at that point we take a small element, right? So here let's say that we are taking the element at a distance of l from the center, right? So if this is l in this triangle, this is d, so what is r here? So r will be under root l square plus d square. So r will be under root l square plus d square, right? So now let's try to apply everything, put everything here in this expression. So in this expression, the magnetic field dB vector, because of this current element this dl vector on point B, will be given by, this will be mu naught by 4 pi into I into, what is, this will be r dl sine 90 plus theta divided by r cube. So r will cancel, so you will have r square. And what is sine 90 plus theta? Sine 90 plus theta is, what is that? That is cos theta, right? So let's apply, put the value, and let's put the value of r as well. So it becomes, we have mu naught by 4 pi I into uh, into cos theta by r square. So if we have put r square here, what we will get? Mu naught by 4 pi into I into, what is, first of all, what is cos theta? So cos theta is, in this triangle, is base by hypotenuse. So d by r, right? So d by under root L square plus d square. So cos theta is d by under root L square plus d square, right? And what is r square? So r square is L square plus d square. L square plus d square. So if you simplify this, what we will have? We will have mu naught by 4 pi into I into sorry, we also have a dl, right? Yeah, we also have a dl, d into dl, right? So I into d into dl divided by L square plus d square whole to the power 3 by 2, right? So this, 1 by 2 into 1, right? So this is, you will have 3 by 2. So this is dB vector. Now we want to find out the magnitude of the whole magnitude of this magnetic field due to the entire wire. Okay, so we'll proceed there. But before that, one thing which is important to understand is what is the direction of the magnetic field on this point B. I think this is very important, right? So the direction of magnetic field is given by this cross product, right? dl vector cross r vector. So here in this expression, if you see, dl vector is in this direction, and r vector is in this direction, right? So this is r vector and this is dl vector. So if you do the cross product, what will you find? So let's say this is let's use a different color. So let's say this is not working, so let's take a further different color. Okay, so I think let's use this color. So let's say this is, right, let's take this. So let's say this is x direction, this is y direction, and this is z direction, right? So this, if you take the cross product of r dl vector cross r vector, you will find that the direction is minus right, I think we are correct, right? X, Y, Z. Yeah. So you will find that the direction is in minus x, right? So the magnetic field is actually inside the plane. So the magnetic field at point B is actually inside the plane. So the magnetic field is in this direction. If you take a point in towards the left of the wire, the magnetic field will be pointing towards you, right? Because here your dl will be, if you take a point towards the left, right? If you take a point towards the left here, so this is dl, this is r. So dl cross r, if you do, right, so you will find that you will find that the magnetic field is towards you, right? So yeah, this is also important. Direction is important. Secondly, another thing is important is that this, now because the wire is infinite, so we can use some symmetry here, right? So we know that, because of this element dl, the magnetic field is inside the plane. If we take any other element dl which is at the in the negative side of O, in the opposite end of if we take this any element dl in the opposite direction along the length of the wire, then because of this element also the magnetic field will be inside the plane only, because for this element also your dl will be this, your r will be this. Again, if you do a cross product, you will find the magnetic field is, so if you do cross product here, the magnetic field will be inside the plane. So we can by symmetry we can assume that the magnetic field, because of this plus half of the wire, will be equal to the magnetic field due to the bottom section of the wire. So what we can do is we can find out the magnetic field because of the upper section of the wire and multiply by 2. So that will give the magnetic field due to the whole wire, right? So here in a way, if we have to find out the magnetic field because of the whole wire, so once we will have to integrate this, right? If we integrate this, we will get the magnetic field. So we will have to integrate this And what we can do is our L can vary from 0 to infinity, so we can find out the magnetic field because of the top section of the wire. And once we do that, and then we will multiply it by 2, so that will give us the magnetic field because of the whole wire. So it will be 2 times this expression where L varies from 0 to infinity, right? If we did not want to use this symmetry, then we'll have to integrate it such that the L will vary from minus infinity to plus infinity. Then we will not use the word 2, but we should always use symmetry wherever possible. It simplifies our calculation. Okay, so now a lot of maths we have done. Now comes the tricky part. So how do we solve this integration? Because we need to solve this integration. And I have told you in this course throughout that mathematics is the language of physics. You have to be very good with integration, differentiation, because these are the tools you have to understand physics. And this is very important. You have to understand integration, differentiation very well, because high level physics, it's all about mathematical modeling. So what is physics? Physics, in a way, physics is a subject where we model what is natural phenomena, right? And whenever we model natural phenomena, we have to use maths. And when we use maths, the most important concept which is used in physics is integration. So you have to integrate it, right? Now integrating it is I think it's not a very tough integration, and I will not go in much detail. So I have done the integration for you. So what I'll do is, let me just if you solve the integration, what you will get is, you will get mu naught I by 2 pi into d into L by under root d square plus L square, and where L varies from 0 to infinity, right? And if you solve, if you apply the integration principle, you will get. So how will you apply the integration principle? You will get how will you apply? So you will, let me call this as, okay, let's write it as it is, mu naught I by 2 pi d. So what will you do? You will let's take L inside this the square root. So once we do that, we will have 1 by under root 1 plus d by L whole square, right? And then you will have 0 to infinity. So first you will have to apply infinity, and then minus, you will have to apply 0. So if you apply infinity, then this term will become what? This term will vanish, so you will have only 1. If you apply then minus, then when you apply 0 here, this term will be infinity, so 1 by infinity will become 0, right? So I hope these steps are clear, but let's again do it for you. So let's assume that this is, so what will happen is, okay, so what you will have is 1 by under root 1 plus d by infinity square minus 1 by under root 1 minus d by 0 square, right? So that's how we do integration, right? So this term is what? D by infinity is what? 0. So 1 by, this is essentially 1. And what is this? D by 0 is infinity, so 1 by infinity is 0. So this is 0, right? So this ultimately, this expression is 1. So your magnetic field becomes simply mu naught I by 2 pi d, right? So I think it's a bit cluttered here, so let me write it here. So because of this wire carrying current, the magnetic field at a point B, which is at a distance of d from the wire, so the magnetic field is equal to, the magnitude of magnetic field is mu naught I by 2 pi d, right? So that's how we calculate magnetic field. Now what I've done is this integration which is there. So I have created a separate slide for this integration. So I'll just open that slide and I'll walk you through it. So I think it will be easier for you to understand. So let me just open that in. Okay, so see, essentially our expression was this: integration of dl by d square plus l square whole to the power 3 by 2. So here what do? We do substitution. So we assume that L is equal to d tan theta, and then we take dl. When you take dl, it becomes d by cos square theta d theta, I'll be a bit fast here because my objective was not to get into the mathematical details, but I think it's important for you to understand. So I think this much understanding you should have. So once you put this dl here, what will you have? You will substitute dl here. So for dl you will write d theta by cos square theta, and then you will have to put l is equal to d tan theta here. So once you put that, you will get this expression, right? So now so you will take d square common, so you will have 1 plus tan square theta whole to the power 3 by 2. Now 1 plus tan square theta is 1 by cos square theta, right? So once you put this, you will ultimately have this expression 1 by d square into cos theta d theta. But if you have any confusion, just pause the video, take your time and do it yourself. I think once you do it yourself, it will be useful for you. And once you integrate this, you will have final expression will be 1 by d square sine theta. Now we need to convert this theta in terms of L. So how do we do that? So here we have assumed that L is equal to d tan theta. And what is theta? Theta is equal to tan inverse L by d, right? So how do we pictorially visualize this? We visualize this like this. So if we have a triangle whose perpendicular is L, base is d, so this is theta, so the tan theta is L by d. So that's how the triangle is. So what is sine theta for this triangle? Sine theta will be perpendicular by hypotenuse, so it will be L by underscore L square plus d square. So sine theta will be L by underscore L square plus d square. So that is the integration of this expression. Of course we should add a constant here, because with integration we should always add a constant. So I hope this integration is clear. If you have doubt, go through it, try to do it yourself. I think then it will be more clear than just memorizing it. So yeah, so I think now we know that because of a current carrying wire, the magnetic field is mu I by 2 pi d. Now let's try to find out the magnetic field because of a circular current carrying. So let's say we have this circular current carrying wire, and we need to find out the magnetic field here at the center of the wire. So again, what we will do, we will take an element dl. So let's take a element dl. So dl vector is tangent to this direction, and let's try to find out the this point, the magnetic field because of this element at the center. So what will be the r vector? So this r vector will be along the radius, right? So what will be the magnetic field direction? So if you again apply the cross product, this angle is 90 degree. If you apply the cross product of the magnetic field at the center would be towards us, right? It will be pointing towards us, right? If you do the cross product. So let's apply the same principle. So because of this element dl, what will be the magnetic field? The magnetic field will be mu naught by 4 pi into I into dl in cross r vector divided by r cube, right? Now because the angle is 90 degree, so this dl vector cross r vector, if you expand it, you will have dl r sine 90. Sine 90 is 1. So you will just have dl r. So this becomes the magnitude becomes the magnitude of this magnetic field, just dv will become mu naught by 4 pi I dl into r by r cube. So r cube will cancel, so you will have r square. So the full magnetic field because of this whole circular wire will be what? The magnetic field will be, so you will have to integrate this dl. So you will have to integrate this dl over the full length of this circular wire. So what is the length of the circular wire? The perimeter is 2 pi r, right? So you will have to integrate this L will be from 0 to 2 pi r, right? So once we do that, we get mu naught by 4 pi I into 2 pi r, and here you have this r square here. So once we simplify it, so this will be the magnitude. So 2 pi will be 2, r will be r. So essentially you have mu naught I by 2r. So yeah, so we see that the magnetic field, we see that the magnetic field, so if you have a bigger wire, if you have a wire with a with a bigger radius, something like this, then the magnetic field will be at the center would be smaller. So if you have a smaller wire, and assuming current is same, so a wire with a smaller radius having the same intensity of current will have a greater magnetic field at its center than a wire in which current is same but the circumference, the radius is higher. So the magnetic field because of the bigger circular wire would be lesser. So I think I'll pause this video here. So I hope you have understood this expression of how to calculate the magnetic field. I know that we have done a lot of mathematical, this video was a bit mathematically heavy, but it's important, right? It's important to understand the nuances of physics, right? You can't just have an intuition based on just theory, right? I mean, theory in the sense that just based on expressions. You have to quantify everything. Otherwise, these things are of no use, right? Because these principles are used to manufacture, or these principles are applied in our day-to-day equipments, like a fan, like our any equipment you take. This principle is used. So unless we properly quantify and model it, we will not be able to manufacture those equipments, right? Those equipments cannot be just manufactured based on ideas. There has to be concrete mathematical theory, mathematical formula. On that basis, we put the whole magnetic theory into practical use. So yeah, so I hope that you found this video useful, interesting, and yeah, see you in the next lecture. So thank you, thanks for your time. Have a good day.